Hey, I'm Bob. I've been blind since birth and I'm into Power Rangers. If you like the video, share, like, subscribe, hit the notification button, all that YouTube jazz. So, this is going to be the third in a series of Power Rangers episode reviews, and we're working our way through Mighty Morphin all the way up to Dino Fury, if we can help it, that is. So, we're talking about teamwork today, and this aired on September the 8th in 1993. I would not see this episode in reruns. I wouldn't see it during those power playback marathons during the summers either. For some reason, I kept missing this thing until I was possibly in the seventh grade, I want to say. I never even knew they had an episode in which the guys and the girls got their power weapons and used them for the first time. I just kept missing this one, and this one was a fun one too. It feels like the third episode in the series because we see another first here with the first time they get the power weapons. And I think it flies in the faces of those groups in the 90s that said, oh, the Power Rangers are out to hurt the environment. They're out to hurt the kids. They're out to hurt the soul of our nation. Because right when the episode begins, we see Kimberly and Trini, and they are wanting to get a petition signed that will ban pollution in Angel Grove. And they are just carrying this thing around high school. They are actually praised by their principal, Mr. Kaplan. We get to see him for the first time in this episode, and he's just thrilled with what they're doing. Like I said, these are your straight A, straight arrow students that any junior high or high school teacher or principal would pay to have go to their school. Kaplan is just very, very pleased. I mean, I guess as long as you don't mess with the guy's toupee, if you don't make a mess, he's happy. He's pleased as punch, I guess. I sound like an old timer using that phrase. So, Rita is the one behind the pollution in this episode, and she wants to complicate matters even more by creating a Minotaur monster. And this is the part where I say, I wish Hasbro or Super 7 would make this monster. Yeah, it would be cool to get a Minotaur action figure in the Lightning Collection or Super 7's Power Rangers figure line. I had him when I was a kid. He had a spiked club and a spiked shield. One of those monsters with weapons I'm not sure they used in the show. He might have. I don't know. There's no audio description to these episodes. So I have no idea if he had weapons or not. So before the action heats up, Bulk and Skull show up and they get in this fight with the girls. Well, I think Bulk and Skull are the ones throwing cans, and they are just putting a crimp in Kimberly and Trini's day. And they eventually do best the bullies. And then there's a mess, though. But Kimberly and Trini have to get going, and they've got to figure out where the creators of the pollution where they are, because they want them to sign the petition too. They want to have a nice chat with them. So they get split off, and of course Rita loves this. She's going to use the divide and conquer tactic. She's got some plans for Kimberly and Trini. She's going to send down a bunch of putties, and the girls are off by themselves, and they kick putty butt. I have to say, these two, they get stuff done. They don't ask for help. They're not damsels in distress. They are giving it to the putties. But it's a pretty tough fight for the girls, but they do manage to come out on top. Meanwhile, Finster's done with the Minotaur, and the guys are having to fight the Minotaur. Goldar shows up while Kimberly and Trini are fighting the putties, and I think it's Goldar anyway. From what I managed to pick up auditorily, it does sound like Kerrigan Mahan doing Goldar. The Goldar voice there, but Goldar goes back up to the moon. Minotaur grows. We get to see the Dinosaurs showcasing their weapons. We already saw Tyrannosaurus doing that in High Five, but now we get to see, I think, from what the audio that I've cleaned from the audio anyway, we get to hear, you get to see, I get to hear the Triceratops and Saber-tooth Tiger. I think they're firing their tail weapons that that were on the toys when I was a kid. And then we get to see Billy using those chains that extend from the horns of the Triceratops. I wish mine had done that when I was a kid. That would have been cool. He tries to tie up the Minotaur. That doesn't work. I think Zach uses the freeze breath, or the Mastodon freezing ability, to try and freeze the Minotaur. That doesn't work. They have to form the Megazord. The Minotaur's still coming, so they got to go back to the command center and regroup. And Zordon gives them their power weapons for the first time. Zach gets the power axe, Kimberly gets the power bow, Trini gets the power daggers, Billy gets the power lance, and Jason gets the power sword. And the Minotaur is now, human-sized once more, and they go have a tussle with him. Then they have to form the Power Blaster for the very first time, and they finish Minotaur off with this big beam attack. I'm sure it looks awesome. You guys have to be the judges of that. And Rita's not happy, but then Mr. Kaplan, he shows up at the end of the episode, and there's a big mess. But he hears this voice over the intercom, and it sounds like Alex Borstein, from 90s Power Rangers voiceover glory, and she is saying, "Oh, Mr. Kaplan, Mrs. Quagmire wants to talk to you." And yeah, Alex Borstein does Lois in Family Guy, so I chuckle whenever I rewatch this episode, because I'm imagining Mr. Kaplan going to talk to Glenn Quagmire's mom, and the mess is cleaned up very fast while he's gone. He comes back, and I guess he's satisfied, but he might be a little disappointed that he's not able to give the kids detention. But yeah, that's the end of the episode. It's a fun one. I'm sad to have missed it. When I was a kid, and if I'd seen that around 9-10 years of age, I would have been a bit disappointed, because I think 9-year-old me would have wanted to see a Captain Planet and Power Rangers crossover, because Kimberly and Trini were trying to sign a petition to fight pollution in this one. I would have been like, "Hey, Saban, where's Captain Planet? Why don't you guys talk with Ted Turner and get a live action group of Planeteers? Get Meg Ryan to actually do a live action Dr. Blight, instead of getting her to, voice her on the animated series. Do a big crossover thing." I would have been disappointed that hadn't happened as a 9-year-old. I think I would have been expecting a Captain Planet crossover, and we wouldn't have gotten it. I imagine I would have sent a letter with, full of ideas to Fox Kids, with some suggestions. They probably wouldn't have been able to read it in Braille. I would have sent them a Braille letter anyway, not an angry letter. I just, I was that one kid that was like, "Oh, what if you could do this? What if you could do that? Yeah, cross them over with this." I think I was still in awe of the Jetsons Meet the Flintstones crossover that I saw like a few years before that. So I thought everything should cross over with everything when I was 9, I think. So yeah, that was teamwork, and it was a pretty fun one. So next time we'll be talking about Oppressing Engagement, and we get to see Jason working out in that one, and we get to see King Sphinx for the first time, so be here for that. I need to review King Sphinx. I got him from the Lightning Collection. I need to get that action figure reviewed too. So yeah, give a hoot, don't pollute, and be careful of mighty Minotaurs with Mad Cow. And I'll hear you guys next time.